So, hi everybody and welcome back to our C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 33 and in this video we learn two new keywords, but very simple one. It is break and continue, and we will use them in structures which we already learned in a while loop, but we can use them in a for loop as well and in other places too. So let's get into it. What is, let me write this first here, break, and we learn continue. So there are more cases where they can be used. We make here just one example, and when we reach other structures, we will repeat them as well. So what it means break? Break means just stop and go out. For example, if we have a loop, and we use this break statement here, it means just stop this loop. It's finished. That's it. Not more, not less. Very easy. And continue is a little bit more complicated. It means just if you reach a special condition, skip this condition. And let's make a break. Let's make another break. Let's not go out. Let's make an example. Let's start. So we start with a while loop. We already learned a while loop, how to write a while loop, or how we write it. First of all, we write a condition variable. In my case, I just need create a number to make it easy. Increment number. And I start with initialize it to 0. So I have my increment number. And this one I want as my condition, right? And how we write a while loop? We start with while, we write the condition, increment number. As long my increment number is less, I use the comparison operator less than 10, which means now I have this here as my condition, and I wrote now as long as it is less than 10, this loop should go to this body. My body, I write with curly braces. Okay, now I have it. And I can do something now, and I just put something out as it is, C out. And when we use C out, we need, of course, our input IO stream here. Don't forget this. And here we put out something like this will not loop 10 times because I will use a break statement here. Haha. Times because I use a break keyword. Break statement. It's called a statement. But let's write it this one. And then let's write also here one more info, which is, let's write here some numbers, which is our increment number, so that we see this as well at the same line. And with that said, we can do one more thing. A new line would be also nice. Perfect. So right now I don't have a break statement, but what we definitely need in a loop is our incrementing, because we have to write the increment in it, because this one will never reach 10 if I don't write it. So let's write it, increment number, and we can use here the shortcut which we learned. This is plus. I hope you know what this means. It's very simple. It means just increment number plus assigned, and then increment number plus 1. This is just a shortcut for that one. So with that said, so far we know already all thing. All fine. It will now 10 times loops. Perfect. This should be fine. Very important here, the note, it starts from 0 to 9. These are 10 times, but it says 9. But with 0, it is 10. That as a reminder, because I started with 0 here. The next thing is now what I want to use this break, and I want to use break this, I don't know. We just write anywhere a break. What happens? Let's see what happens. I write after this one break, and you can just write it here, and you see this color here indicates it's again a keyword, a very important one. And let's compile and see what happens. And we see after the first statement it breaks continually, which means it jumps out of the loop. So what happens here is, and we learned something too in some videos before, we can check with our debug, right? I can point here, let's point here this not and start it. It will jump to this point, and now we can check all the variables. Let's go, and here was this on top, this step over, so it goes here to the next line, okay, and then to the next line it is 0. Okay, it goes to the break. Now the increment number is 1. We can see it here on the bottom. Then it goes out of the break. You see, after it reached this point, it was jumped out of the loop. Normally it will go here on top and start over again, but we have a break, it jumps out. And so we repeat it also a little bit, this debug. We have to use this one, it's very helpful. But this was interesting, but normally you would not, you can use it this way, but you can use it more with a condition. And how we make conditions all time, we learned this also with a if statement, right? Because normally you would not just write here a line and then break it, that makes no sense, but you would rather do something like so. Let me write something here, if statement. And we learned in the last video something like a shortcut, and I won't use it even if it's not good and a little bit, but you will see it in most time programming. That's why we have to get used to it. So let's say increment number is equal. I use the equal operator. This is the double sign. Double equal means equal. And let's say equal 5. Then I want that this one is breaking. And careful, I can write break here, or sometimes you will see this one in one line. This happens also often in programming. They write in one line many things. Important is that you know this semicolon here. It's very important. This one defines all time one compile execution, right? It will compile till this semicolon, and then it reads. For example, I can write here again if whatever increment number is less than 7, and then I can write here also continue or something. That makes no sense what I write. I want to just demonstrate that they write something like this too in some programming codes. You will see this, and we have to get used to it because, yeah. But right now, just see this one. And what this was is, we learned this in the last video, it was a shortcut, right? The real thing, what we normally use is, let me write this one here just as a reminder that we learned this, but let's write it like we should write it in our start position. We are starters, we learn it right, 5, then we go down. Then we make our body, which is very important, and then we write the break. This is the normal. You see, it's much longer, and programmers are very lazy, and they just write this one line. It's compared to this one. Yes, it's a little bit less to type, but this one is more. I think it's better later, because this body is very important later for us, for scope. We will talk about scope and so too, but later. So let's see what happens now. I compile. It will just do the same, but it will break out after equal 5. And this one is a little bit more, you can here adjust your code. So that's done. Let's make now the same thing with continue. And this time I write here continue. Continue. And continue means if you are here equal 5, let's say the number is equal 5, so it loops, it comes here to 5, and then it says 5 is equal to 5, then you should skip this. You should skip all the code what comes later here. And that is actually a problem for us, and I will show you why. Because this is very good. For example, there's certain condition you won't skip one thing, but you must be careful what comes next. And why? I show you now when I compile this one. Or think about why this one will make a problem. When it skips here 5, 5, all the code behind, why could this make a problem here? Think about it if you want. But now I continue and I compile and you see it. And bang. It goes forever. And the question is now, wait a minute, why it goes forever? And we use again our debug check. If we don't understand it, use all time this debug check. It's very nice. So you go here, for example, let's start here on top from the while. And we check our code here a little bit, right? So let's see what happens. I start. This time it will jump here to this debug. All right. At start, my increment number, I can see it on top is 0. Cool. And then I use this step over. Okay. Goes to the next line. All time at start. It is not evaluated. Careful about this one. It's all time at the start. And after I go to the next line, then this line is evaluated. And this time increment is still 0. Okay. Let's make it a little bit faster. I go on. Okay. This one increments. Now it's 1. Perfect. At this point, after it finished this line, our increment number is 1. All fine. And I go on a little bit. It's 2 because now it's repeating. Let's go to the point where it is 5. Now, yeah, now it's important. We go here. It is 5. No, it's not 5 because I'm at the start. No, it is just a comparison. It will still stay 4. Sorry. Now it's 5 after this one. And let's go here. Okay. Now it's 5, right? I know the increment number is 5 and it will equal to 5. Let's see what happens now. I go to the next and now it jumps to the continue states, which means it jumps to the if condition is true. I jump here and now let's see what happens. I press next and it never comes to this line because continue means just skip all these things, but very important, continue with the loop. So, and what happens? Our increment number is still 5 and we can see that I go on, I go down. At this point, my increment number is again 5. And then here, continue, and I can see my increment number is again 5, which means that you, for example, in my case, that I grabbed here the increment anyhow, because this will never increment it because of this continue statements, right? So this is so now we demonstrated a little bit how you can debug this one. And of course you must then change your code when you use something like that. And in my case, how we can change this one fast to make it useful again. So I want just continue if it's, for example, 5, and then it should continue, for example, to 6. How we can make this? Is this possible? I don't know. Let's see what happens when I make this here. When I increment first. Will this really work? Let's test it. It worked. Anyhow, it worked. And why it worked is this time I have the increment before, so it will increment definitely. And this continue means only the code after will skipped, right? Also, very important after the while loop. That's why these braces are very important here. That's why I said the body is all time important for us. And yeah, that's it normally. And at last, let me show you. Of course, you can write this line as a shortcut too, like all time you could write, and you will see it probably in programming again. Increment number, number equal 5 as continue, something like that. You will see this one as well as like that. Let me show you that this one is working too. Control C for commenting, and here Control K and U for uncommenting, and then this one works too. This is just a shortcut version. Just sometimes you will see this, and you see here again we have the braces, but the braces will very important for us later. So we still learn both, right? We have to learn both. So that was this one for this video, and in the next video we will do again exercise time, because we talked about many keywords, and yeah, but that's nice and fine. Keywords, like I said, it's easy to understand most time, but how we are using them actual in code, it's more important. To train them, how they are connected, how they are nested, how they are called, how to use them, because just understanding keywords is very easy, very important note. Keywords understanding, you can read them, understand them instantly, but to use them, you really have write code. And in the next one, we are going to write again a code, but not so a difficult one. I try to make an easy exercise next time, not like the database one, which I made was a little bit overpowered. Okay, see you in the next, and good luck. Bye. And of course, if you have any questions and so, write it in a comment. This video is made on the fly, not perfect. There could be many mistakes, and we can discuss it there. Okay, see you there. Bye.